Audio.
Yep.
So we have identical systems at both places. The password is Ableton922. If you need help with that, email john.rudot. This is really identical at both campuses, which is really nice. What we have are a headphone amp, and we did this so that we have multiple sets of headphones for training purposes down here, and more than one person can listen at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Since we switched to Dante, the only way to get the audio out to the live stream and to the headphones is we needed this little Dante monitoring device. So this brings in Dante, and then that goes out to the headphones. That was the only way we can do it, because you can't have two separate outputs in the software, like external headphones and Dante. It's either external headphones on the computer or Dante. So we couldn't send the live stream feed over Dante to the video switcher so it can put it together and also monitor at the same time. So this was the solution, is to get this RedNet Focusrite. And this is exactly what it's built for, Dante, bringing audio in for monitoring purposes. That's also nice because we could move this station somewhere else, into the sacristy. As long as we can plug into the Dante network, we're good to go. We have to have two connections because the computer and this guy need to be plugged into Dante.
Okay.
So that is why we have that, and then this headphone amp so that it can be monitored. This guy is a USB MIDI controller that just allows some quick changes in the software, and instead of clicking with the mouse. So that is why we have that. It makes it mixing real easy. In the software, most everything is laid out on this QR code. I have a document that is a reference for everybody on how to mix properly, what to look for, things like that, issues. So reference that document on how to mix properly, and a number of things about setup. A couple things that are probably good to know at St. Peter, and I think the core is laid out similarly, is our IP address scheme. Dante is at St. Peter 172.24.15 range. The control network is 172.24.10 range. So how you know you plugged in the AV switches to either the Dante network or the control network is open up your computer, and does it have a .15 or a .10? That tells you .15 is Dante, .10 is control network. So Dante needs to be on the .15 network. And that's how I connected this guy into the AV switch down here that has ports designated for Dante. It's able to plug that computer in there, and also our Focusrite device have a cable that goes into the Dante network as well. Once it's on the Dante network, all the devices can see each other, and you're ready to start patching. So you need to start up the virtual Dante sound card, which puts that device on the Dante network, this computer on the Dante network. And then you can open up Ableton Live and start mixing. How I have this designed is I have a template file saved. And just because of that pop-up, I do have, there are a couple pieces of software that require an iLock for the licensing, which I do have. I'm using it for mixing the album right now. That's not, I took it with me. So it'll warn you if that iLock is not present. So I'm just gonna quit it now because we're not actually mixing. I'll come back to that when we're in here. So I have Ableton set up right now to, by default, open the live stream mixing template, which is the starting point for mixing. And you do that in Ableton by going to templates and right-clicking on the file, and then you can set it as default live set, which is what I did. So if I ever update the template, I have to file, save live as template, name it the same thing, press save. Do you want to overwrite? Yes, boom. That's how I update the template, so that whenever someone comes and mixes, it automatically don't have to find it. It just opens up that template by default, and they're ready to go. I did at one point kind of sit down and mix things to where it sounded good with the template, but I want each of the audio people to kind of have their own freedom in that they can do it how they want to do it. So let's go jump back to licensing quick. I have Waves licenses on here, and I also have the Trigger 2, Steven Slate Trigger 2 for drum samples. That's what the iLock is, and now you can see it shut down that plugin because I don't have the iLock. That required an iLock license, and that is a sampling device that where you can put samples for kick and snare. Here at St. Peter, it's not necessarily an issue because the kick and snare samples help with bleed from other microphones on the drum set to clean that sound up. We use an electronic drum set here, but I just like the samples way better than I liked the drum set, the electronic drum set, so I just put it in there. So that's why I have those in there. All of the other plugins are Waves plugins. So we have a Waves, I purchased the plugins, and we have the reoccurring Waves update plan that we subscribe to annually, which is probably something I got to make sure is transferred over credit card wise and stuff. That was one thing I didn't talk to Allie about. So with the Waves update license plan, you not only get annual like updates when they update plugins and add new features to them, you get 2 licenses. So what I did was I just subscribed to that, and then instead of buying all the licenses twice, I'm able to install the same thing at both campuses. So for mixing the album, I'm going to quit out of Ableton. It's always going to ask me if I want to save the changes to Untitled. That's because it opened a template. I'm not going to save that. I have down here the Waves Central, which is the licensing for all of the plugins. It'll every year, probably have a new version of the plugins, and you do have to update the plugins and then install those plugins updates, which I just did for version 16. So we should be all set on version 16. So next year I'll probably say version 17 is available. So with this subscription to the updates, we get those updates and we get the 2 licenses. When I mix on the album, I want to use a lot of these plugins. I go into licenses, connected devices, and I select this hard drive. There are 26 licenses on it, and I deactivate those licenses. Boom. Now I can go on my laptop and I can activate them there, mix the album during the week, deactivate them on my computer, come back here, activate the licenses again. And I usually use a Google Remote Desktop, Chrome Remote Desktop to do that. So I don't have to be here. I can just log in and just reactivate the licenses. So I'm going to do that again, not activated, and I'm going to activate the licenses here because I will probably be working on this a little bit later. And then boom, the licenses are active. You have to have Ableton closed to do that. But that's how you can manage the licenses. So we get 2 instances
of each
plugin. So St. Peter and the core for the live streams. And then if I want to use it on the side, instead of buying it all again, I just deactivate and reactivate. I just manage it that way. And then I go into Ableton, and sometimes when I do that, I have to quit and reopen Ableton twice because it's like, I can't find these plugins. And I just quit it out, open it again. Oh, they're all right here. So just a note, sometimes a little glitch there. There is a number of stuff on the back end of this that is probably way too detailed to get into. Let me just think about if there are some main things to be considered. I think The way we got this template was purchased from productiononline.com. The guy from Bethel who mixes their live stream put this template together and sold it, and it really was a great starting point. So that really helped a lot. So that's where this comes from. And we were able to have, there's a stream output on here. So that is the channel that's going to the live stream. And then the main channel, which is pulling the exact same live stream audio, is going to the main switch, which is being sent in Dante to this device right here. So that's how we're able to monitor it. So within Ableton, we're sending it over Dante to the live stream and to the headphone monitoring device so that we hear the exact same thing. Those are both being pulled from this mix aux channel, which is like your mastering channel. So just so you're aware, that's kind of how it's set up. I did time delay the room microphones. I measured the distances from the speakers to the center mics and from the speakers to the rear mics. That's listed right down here at the bottom in milliseconds. So the longer one are the booth left and right channels are a little bit longer delay, 57 milliseconds, and the ceiling mics are 42 milliseconds. It's important to time delay so that you don't hear it echo. As the sound reaches each microphone, it brings them all in line so that if someone smacks a snare drum, you only hear it once when it goes through. So it's really, it's actually delaying all the other channels to the furthest microphone so that it all lines up. So time delaying at both campuses has been done, and I believe it's pretty accurate. Again, something that can be monitored or double checked. So as far as the actual mixing, I don't think I need to go through all the details of how to mix the live stream. A lot of it is done. Training will be done by those who do it. Tips and tricks are in this document. Trying to think of a couple issues that have come up in the past. Probably the one thing that is good to know at both campuses, let's say your computer crashes or Ableton crashes. While you're getting it up, if you react quickly, you can go to the touch panel. I suppose we should probably show this. On the audio button, JKLOL, it's on quick mix mode. We're going to change it to console mode. There we go.
Because that's what we would be in.
This
normally.
is what we would be normally on a contemporary service mixing a live stream.
Yep.
I had Aero EV help me put in recording source that's going to the live stream. There's Dante and there's console. Dante is Ableton live here, the mix. It's listening to Dante to get that. If that were to go down, we can switch it real quickly over to console. That is just going to send whatever the room mix is.
Which is better than nothing.
It's better than silence. It's not going to sound as good, but you can switch it over while you're getting everything back up and running. And when you get everything back up and running, you can switch it back to Dante for that computer to be the source. So this is what the live stream feed is listening to for the audio to get put together with the video for the live stream. So we have this kind of as an emergency backup. We have had a few scenarios where weddings, funerals, they wanted a band to play, but we do not have a live stream person, audio person. And it's just usually a small group. So I just say, just switch it over to the audio to be console mode so that the live stream, and even a recording, if they're recording on Resi, you can set it up just to record in Resi and not live stream it. If no one's running this station and you start up contemporary service, because it's by default going to go to Dante, because every Sunday that's what we use. If you don't switch it to console and there's no one here mixing at the station, you're going to have no audio if you're in console mode. If you're in quick mix mode, you will have audio because it's just using those basic couple microphones and the pianos, and that by default is going. But if you switch to console mode, it's going to default to this computer being the source of the live stream audio, But if this is not in use, weddings, funerals, special events, graduation services,
Mhm.
whatever, little kid Christmas programs that they're recording for the grandparents, you will need to switch it to console mode to make sure that it gets put on the recording.
Okay.
So that's important to know too.